Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Pre-Market News and Views by In the Money Stocks. Today is Wednesday, February 29th, 2012. Today is a leap year. There's a lot to cover. Let's get right into these charts. We're going to start off with the S&P 500 E-mini futures. They are trading higher by about a point and a half at the moment, all the way up to 1373 per contract. Yesterday, once again, the markets prevailed. Started off a little bit on the weak side. As soon as that U.S. dollar index started to decline, markets rallied right back up. And we see this day after day after day after day. A resilient move in the market on the back of a weaker U.S. dollar index. The U.S. dollar index has now fallen sharply for over a month now, and that has been your rally. So once again, if the dollar goes lower, watch for the markets to trade higher. Today, the markets are trading higher by about a point and a half at the moment, and that's on the S&P 500 E-mini futures. All right, there's a lot to cover, so I'm going to start here. We'll take a look at oil first. Spot crude this morning is really just is trading up by about 30 cents at the moment. So decent little move for crude. You can't. Crude remains very, very high, trading around the 106.85 level this morning. Did pull back the last couple days, but nonetheless, it is still trading right around that 106.85 area, and still remains pretty high overall. So oil is trading up a little bit. Gold is down 1 point. Spot gold is down to 17.88 per ounce. Just down 1 point. Gold has had a huge move as of late. So has silver. So both gold and silver have had big moves to the upside. Let's take a look here at SLV. You'll see yesterday just a tremendous move, trading just above that 36 level. Very, very good move for silver. GLD has had a very, very good move as well. This morning, GLD is trading around 173.62. And we'll go back to oil quickly. You can see it here on the USO, trading up a little bit, just underneath the 41 level. So again, gold, silver, oil holding up very, very well. If the dollar moves lower, these commodities will trade higher. So keep that on the radar going forward. Now, a couple of things to really talk about quickly. One, you're going to have GDP numbers coming out at 8:30. That's still about 15 minutes away. I'm not sure what the numbers are going to be, but I expect them to be somewhat in line. I don't even know how they calculate GDP anymore, but expect them to be somewhat in line. I don't think it's going to be a big market mover. You will have Ben Bernanke, the Federal Reserve Chairman, testifying in front of Congress today in the Humphrey Hawkins testimony. So you have to watch for that. Markets could get a little bit quiet. We'll see if Ben Bernanke says they're going to keep interest rates low all the way until 2024. Every time he seems to be in the media, he ups his projection for keeping interest rates low. Now, we also have, this morning I should say, the European Union released their LTRO. That's their bank lending facility. I believe they lent out $713 billion to over 800 banks. So again, that's just a huge number. This is the second bank lending facility that they've come up with in the past couple months. So again, well over $1 trillion now lent to these European banks. But this time it was $713 billion worth of money going to 800 banks. So that equates to, I believe, 529.5 billion euro. So that's a pretty big number. What can you say? This is just the way it is. It's bailout nation everywhere you look. The banks are getting bailed out, and somebody's got to pay for that. I just wonder where the money's coming from. But in any case, that's what we're dealing with this morning. The European markets at the moment are basically flat for the most part. Really, you actually have the German DAX up 0.5%. The French CAC 40 is up 0.4%. And the FTSE 100, which is the UK, is basically flat this morning. So markets are holding up well. No real ill effect there. In fact, when you put liquidity into the system, it usually gives the market a big bump, but to the upside. But nonetheless, this year has been already projected. But I think it was a little bit more than people expected. And 800 banks turned out to take that money. And most of those banks will play the carry trade, or else they'll actually buy back their own debt. So once again, so the banks are getting a big loan from the European Central Bank, and it turns out to be $713 billion. All right, let's go forward here. We're going to have some stocks in motion today. You're going to have some economic news as well. But let's take a look at the stocks in motion this morning. There's not too many. Things have quieted down since earnings season is starting to come to an end. But the next earnings season will be right around the corner before you know it. Let's take a look at SodaStream. I notice this stock is a fan favorite, loved by many people. Stock is getting hit this morning. Yesterday it closed at $47.50. Today it's trading at $40.80. Don't touch this thing. This is a real gap down. This is a strong gap lower. Looks like $36.50 could have some support. Then I'm going to say $35. But this is a big, strong gap down. So you got to be careful whenever you see a stock like this fall from grace. It could trade all the way down to, I would probably say $35.40 is a real good level. There'll be some short-term support at $36.50, but $35.40 could be a short-term support area for a quick bounce. Again, you're going to have to see how the patterns shape up on the charts, but once the market opens. But that would probably be a good intraday area for a bounce, $35.40. But this is a strong gap down. And whenever you see these strong gap downs, just realize they can always go lower. Okay, so SodaStream getting hit this morning. Let's take a look at FSLR. This is everybody's favorite solar. First Solar. Stock is getting hit a little bit this morning. Has rebounded up to the 34 level. It looks like there's a fair amount of support around $32 and $30. I wouldn't do anything with it beforehand. So watch $32 and then watch 30 bucks. There'll be some support there. It's not that strong of a gap down, so I would expect those support levels to at least hold up temporarily intraday. Okay, let's take a look at SPLS. This is Staples. I believe they had earnings as well. Stock is trading at $16.40, up a little bit. I would not touch it. It doesn't look like a strong gap at all. It looks like a weak gap. There's a ton of resistance here around the $16.50 level. Okay, let's take a look at Costco, my favorite wholesale warehouse. Costco's getting hit a little bit this morning. The stock is now trading at $85.62. Actually, it's up. Forgive me for that. It's off the highs of the day, but it is up this morning. The stock has a ton of resistance around the 86 to 86.50 level. If it got through there, 88 to 88.50 would be the next big resistance level. But Costco has faded here. We'll see how it trades. Nothing really to do there now since it's already faded. I would have said it would be a fade candidate around the 88.50 level, but nonetheless, it has already come down, so no good there. I would probably just leave Costco alone now. There's really nothing to do with it from my vantage point here, so be a little bit careful with Costco. There's another one out there, EXLP. This stock is getting hit this morning. This is a strong gap lower as well. Closed at $25. Today it's trading at $23.85. There's going to be some support all the way down, probably to the $21.85 level. $21.85 should be pretty decent support, but again, this is a strong gap lower, so be careful with this thing. You never know where these things can go. Let me see if I can find another level here. This is a light volume stock too, so really not something that I play. But yeah, that 21.75 level, 21.85 area, that is a very good support level. After that, it would be $21, and then respectively all the way back down to $19.75. So watch all of those levels on this stock if you do own it or you're looking to play it. But again, remember, it's a light volume name. Never really trades over 500,000 shares a day. It's a very, very thin name, so be careful there. Alrighty, everybody, that's going to wrap it up for today. Again, watch the Ben Bernanke testimony. We'll see what he has to say. I don't think he's going to say anything to hurt the markets. He's only going to say things to encourage the markets. But a lot of it's already baked into the cake here. Again, you had the big European lending facility today, the LTRO, $713 billion in U.S. dollars, 529.5 billion euro lent to 800 banks. That's a lot of money to a lot of banks, and it goes to show you how big that financial problem really is in Europe. Once again, I'd like to thank you all for watching, and we'll be back tomorrow. Have a great trading day, everyone. See you then.